The bullet was actually headed for India's chest, but actually it grazed the shoulder. India has not got, reciprocal tariff on each and every item. He's not singled out India.
It was a blanket tariff.
He is a blanket tariff and every country has got hit. India actually has not really come off worse in this because worse was expected. If the reciprocal tariff was done instead of blanket tariff, India would have been hit very hard. And let me tell you, this is not an arbitrary decision. He has thought through the process. He has left room for negotiation. We are talking with him. We should have an agreement. This statement from China saying that it is ready for war, whether it is tariff war or any other war wars. That's one statement. Never has China issued a blanket statement saying that it's ready for war with US. US responded, we are ready anytime. He's urging you or instigating you to negotiate with him.
Right.
And if you do that, it's fine. So the point in this is that, it's a thought through process.
There are two ways of describing what Trump did today. One, that Trump took a flamethrower and scorched global trade with it. The other is that this is a game of smoke and mirrors. Straight out of a business strategy book, a game of positioning. Trump has armed the US with tools to give itself the upper hand in trade negotiations with various countries. Now both arguments carry weight. But in the short term, by imposing tariffs on everyone, Trump has changed the rules of the game. And countries will have to rethink trade, in particular exports to the US. To talk about the impact of reciprocal tariffs on the world, in particular India, I'm joined by my senior colleague, Shishir Gupta, Executive Editor, Hindustan Times. Thank you, sir, for taking the time and talking to us. Of course, we were expecting this, that Trump is going to do it. The date was, of course, decided, April 2nd. It has happened now. But what has happened? Is it worse than what we were expecting, or has it come off slightly better?
So, Abhishek, let me put it like this way, that, the bullet was actually headed for India's chest, but actually it grazed the shoulder. That's what has happened. So what has happened is that you have discounted tariff, reciprocal tariff put against India. There is a baseline tariff of 10% which has been put all the countries.
Sure.
India has got 26%, which means essentially a tariff increase of 16% because a baseline tariff is 10%. Right. So the way of looking at it is, the opposition may scream saying that, he's put tariffs, so on and so forth. But the fundamental point in all this is that India has not got, reciprocal tariff on each and every item. He's not singled out India.
It was a blanket tariff.
He is a blanket tariff and every country has got hit. So it is not only India, it's China, European Union, all his key allies have got hit, everybody's got hit.
Israel, Japan.
Everybody's got hit, but the point in this is that India, let's say, I would put it that India has actually got, has managed to come out of it. I mean, it's not been sort of, been shot dead or kind of thing like that. But the point is in all this is that India actually has not really come off worse in this because worse was expected. If the reciprocal tariff was done instead of blanket tariff, India would have been hit very hard because we have very high tariffs against US. Right. One is that. Second thing is that, the game that he has played is that the borrowing of US is at a humongous level. Let me put it this way. The interest rate on the borrowing is more than its US defense budget. So you know that the $1 trillion numbers. So he has to get money out of somewhere. And he has promised his electorate that he is going to give relief them taxes. How can you give them relief in taxes if you don't earn? So this is one way of doing it, but he has not gone the whole hog. So what he has done is he's given you a way out. He's hit everybody. And let me tell you, this is not an arbitrary decision. He has thought through the process. And I will tell you why he has thought through the process, but the fact remains is that, let me say, India could have been hit more. But I think we have got, the bullet has actually grazed the shoulder only.
Right. But what is this whole hog? Because, of course, one argument which is being made, Trump has done this to gain an upper hand in the upcoming bilateral trade negotiations with various countries. We know at this point that India and US are, of course, negotiating the trade deal, and the deal could be signed as early as autumn this year. Do you think this is being done from this point of view? Because tariffs can be brought down as per Trump's discretion whenever he wants.
That's a very good question, but there are two aspects to this question. One is that obviously he's put himself at a negotiating position. He's in the driving seat. He has not gone the whole hog. He has left room for negotiation. We are talking with him. We should have an agreement, at least the early harvest, at least by autumn. And then maybe he can sort of roll back tariffs or whatever it is. But the game is much bigger than this, much bigger than this.
Okay.
So let me explain you the geopolitics of the entire.
Sure.
First was this statement from China saying that it is ready for war, whether it is tariff war or any other war he wants. That's one statement. Never has China issued a blanket statement saying that it's ready for war with US. US responded, we are ready anytime. Second thing is, look at what he has done in Taiwan. Since March 29, at least 200 aircraft have gone towards Taiwan, and at least nearly 100 vessels, including its aircraft carrier Shandong, has headed towards Taiwan. So you are looking at a Taiwan emergency. The exercise that started on March 29th stopped this morning when the trade tariffs were announced.
Right.
What is happening is that tomorrow, the American assessment is that Taiwan emergency may take place as early as 2027.
That's interesting, but how will this make other countries stand with the US against China in case of Taiwan emergency?
You see, if you're going to hit everybody, if he had sort of put reciprocal tariff in toto, then everybody, I mean, including India, all his allies, all those people who are under the nuclear umbrella, all those Five Eyes, they all of those countries who have stood with the US, whether it was way back in World War II till the Afghanistan war, they all would have said, okay, it's each man for himself. So if he's doing it, then why should I be helping him? So the point in this is that, there are multiple plays that are happening. There is this Taiwan emergency, and the Chinese have made it very clear that they're willing to fight.
Right.
Now, he needs the support of people who have stood with him. It's not an arbitrary decision. He needs that support.
So he wants to be seen to be in a position where he's going to grant people favors. European Union a favor, 3 months down the line, bring down the tariff. Is that what you're saying?
See, the point in this is that he has thought through the process. He is not taking the whole hog. He's not taking the full line.
Right.
Now, what is happening is, one is Taiwan. Second thing is, this morning, USS Carl Vinson strike group is right now in Indian Ocean, is headed towards North Arabian Sea, towards Iran.
Okay.
You have 6 B-52 bombers which have flown in
Diego Garcia.
to Diego Garcia.
Yeah.
Now there is a possibility of an Iran emergency.
Right.
So now if there is an Iran emergency, he would be looking at his own people who stand by him. I mean, he can't just simply fight every war on his own.
Sure.
So the point in this is, the process has been thought through. He has lived up to the expectation of his electorate by saying that I am going to put reciprocal tariff. He has lived up to the expectations of the electorate by saying that I am going to earn you more money.
Sure.
He has tried to get more money for US. So for him, he has actually positioned himself where it is more of a win-win kind of thing rather than sort of lose-lose kind of thing, where he would have actually targeted everybody and shooting, from his hip to everybody, and then suddenly everybody would have said, okay, boss, then each man for himself.
When you say targeting everybody, you mean in terms of tariffs or in any other way? Because in this case, tariffs have been imposed on pretty much everyone.
See, there is a baseline tariff. There is the discounted tariff is virtually half the tariff which was actually there.
Right.
So he could have put the whole tariff. So he has thought through the process. Everybody has been, it's a shake-up call. Listen, talk to me. Negotiate with me. Come out with a bilateral agreement, and then we'll talk.
And contribute more.
And contribute more so that I earn more. I tell my electorate that I have done something for you. I have made America great again. At the same time, he knows the global geopolitical situation is bad.
Right.
The Ukraine war has not stopped. Both are dragging their feet. Tomorrow, if the Taiwan emergency happens, if there is Ukraine war is not stopped, Russia will go the China way.
Right.
You have the Iran emergency. If you've told Iran that, listen, if you don't do a nuclear deal, I'm going to bomb you. You've said that openly.
Yes, yes.
Now, no more there is this whole business of, saying, there is this note verbal, there is this ad memoir, there is everything. He is doing diplomacy straight from the TV camera.
Right.
So the point is that he has given you positions, but his own position also is not the strongest. So he's worked out a via media solution. He has looked at discounted tariffs. He is urging you or instigating you to negotiate with him.
Right.
And if you do that, it's fine. So the point in this is that, it's a thought through process.
Sure.
There is diligence in this. Everybody thought that, they were actually going to be sort of, put before the firing squad. No, he's not done that. He's just simply told you that I have done this much, but if you negotiate, I can roll it back. If you don't, you'll get the whole hog.
Yeah, I could have done more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that the other thing is China, South Korea, Japan for the first time had an economic dialogue. They are now thinking in terms of having a consensus on how to react.
Right.
Now, Japan is under American nuclear umbrella. South Korea is a huge partner of US.
Yeah.
So the point is, US cannot afford these two guys to go over there.
Yeah.
Secondly, with India, India sits at the heart of the Quad.
Yeah.
It sits at the heart of the Indo-Pacific. Yeah. You have the Persian Gulf, you have Guam, on both sides you have Diego Garcia, it's sitting at the heart of it.
Yeah.
Now, if you sort of, antagonize India by saying, listen, I'm going to go for your, between the eyes. Sorry, this is not going to happen that way.
True.
So
because interestingly, Xi Jinping also very recently wrote to the Indian president saying it's time for the dragon and the elephant to tango. And of course, we all know, what's been happening since 2020. So it's not like we're on very friendly terms.
No. So that's a wonderful one.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you something. Coming to Xi Jinping's statement,
yeah.
Elephant is a real animal.
Yeah.
Dragon,
yeah.
we do not know. Dragon is unreal. Dragon is a fantasy.
Right.
So, India, what you see is what you get.
What you get.
I do not know about China. So, I really do not know much to make out that statement.
Right.
Okay. It's a statement done deliberately at the time. It's also done with absolute geopolitics in mind. But, I think dragon and elephant are quite incompatible animals to tango.
Right. But as far as India is concerned, what is the way forward now? This has happened, and of course, there is a trade deal which is being negotiated between the two countries. But what happens going forward?
See, this morning, the Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal, the External Affairs Minister, S. Jaishankar, who's in Bangkok for the BIMSTEC Ministerial, and the top, the Foreign Secretary, the Commerce Secretary, or the US Indian Ambassador to US, they all have been sort of, in early morning, they've been sort of talking together to see what actually this discounted reciprocal tariff means and what is the way forward. Now, the point in this is, we have to look towards a bilateral agreement.
Sure.
That's what that's what Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his friend Donald Trump have come to terms with, have committed themselves to. So, we'll be looking at a bilateral trade agreement.
Yeah.
Now, this bilateral trade agreement is something which Biden didn't want. We wanted the agreement.
Yeah.
It started when Trump in the first term, when he was the 45th president.
Yes.
So, the point is, it's in our interest also to have a free trade agreement, because if this works out, the European Union will be forced to do it, UK will be forced to do it.
Yeah.
Right? So, it's good for us also. So, the point in all this is that, we will look towards a trade agreement and the discounted reciprocal tariff helps us, because it gives us the leeway for both sides to actually negotiate.
Right.
And that is what it is the most important part about it. So, to say that, I personally think that what we had, the conversation that we had previously, I think the situation is not as bad as it seems.
Yeah. And that's perhaps good to hear because, some of the implications which we were talking about earlier in terms of what it's going to do to global trade, in particular India as well, were rather dark. But now that this has finally happened, it has been incorporated as far as the markets are concerned. It hasn't turned out to be as bad as we thought it might.
See, Abhishek, trade is one aspect of it.
Yeah.
Then there is this impact on the bilateral relations. Now, he has done what he has done, right? Now it is time for us to say, listen, you talked about energy, please deliver.
Sure.
You talk about high-end technology, please deliver. And let me tell you, the first F404 engine is landing today in India.
Okay.
The first one.
Right.
Which is going to empower Tejas.
Tejas.
The other engine which India will manufacture in India is F414,
Right.
which HAL and GE are combining.
Okay.
The last it was heard was the transfer technology would be around 70%. Now we can tell him, listen, you promised 100%. What about 70%?
Yeah.
So we now have that leverage. You played your card.
Yeah.
You shot the you fired the first bullet.
Yeah.
Now let's see. Now you walk the line on this and give us the technology that we require. So this is much bigger than this.
Yeah,
This is much bigger than trade.
Yeah. Let's see what that calibrated response from India's side going to be, and that we will of course see in the days to come, perhaps even in hours to come, because the Commerce Ministry, or perhaps for that matter even the External Affairs Minister, might be asked to react to this. But on that note, thank you so much for taking the time, sir, and talking to us.
Thank you, Abhishek.